Welcome to Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Jesse Ott, the host of this podcast, which is all about beverage innovation. I talk with innovation pioneers from agriculture to glass. Thank you for listening, and be sure to subscribe to be notified of all new episodes. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am Jesse, and I have Karen Hertz here from Holidaily Brewing Company. I love that name. So,
Yeah.
Karen, where are you calling in from?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm calling from Golden, Colorado. We have a tap room. We have 2 tap rooms in Colorado and a production brewery here, but we distribute in 7 states throughout the southwestern U.S. But I'm in our
Hopefully you have a nice
Golden
fire
location
going
today.
on. I think there's a bunch of snow being dumped on you guys.
Yes, yeah, it's been a little snowy, but that's
It is
expected for winter,
mid-December.
so
It is
we can
mid-December.
handle it. Yeah, exactly. We can do it. We can do
Yeah,
it out
that's
here. That's why
right.
we have beer, right?
Beard skiing makes all the pain go away, right? Do you ski?
Exactly. Yes. I do. Yeah. I try and get up most weekends really in January, sometimes February. I have kids that interfere with that a little bit. But we mostly ski Keystone and Vale in our family, and I'm a native of Colorado, so I've skied since I was little, but love it.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you use two
Yeah.
skis or do you slalom?
Yes, I use 2 skis. Yes, 2 alpine skis.
Okay.
We have all kinds of ski members in our family, snowboarders, telemarkers, alpine skiers. I'm in the alpine ski party.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I remember back in the day, like when I was, able to do it, moguls. I was never very good because
Yeah.
we never went, we didn't go enough being in Iowa.
Right.
But I always thought those would be really fun to get a little airtime.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
pretty fun. But now, like, I'm getting old enough that the landing isn't quite as fun as it used to be,
Not
you know?
anymore, yeah.
Yeah.
No. Oh man. I like it when you go all day and then so you get used to all the runs and then it gets kind of icy at night, so it gets a little faster and you're like, "Yeah, I'm ready, to get a little speed behind this now."
You're a daredevil. You might need to go East Coast. East Coast is like icy and fast.
No, just for a
West
little
Coast
bit.
is more like powder. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a wimp
We got to
though.
get you racing.
Yeah, it was well, it was
Yeah.
fun then. I mean, I haven't been skiing in years, but I'd like to. I'd like
Well,
to get
come
back
on
out
out.
there.
You let me know.
Okay, I will. I will.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll have you hold my hold my hand
Definitely.
on the blues.
I can provide some tips and tricks. But yeah, our Golden location we're about an hour away from Summit County, which is Keystone and Breckenridge and Copper and some of those bigger resorts. So it's not too far.
Oh, that's awesome. Beautiful part of the
Yeah.
state, I'm sure.
Yeah, oh, yeah, it's awesome. We get people all the time headed up to the mountains on Friday, picking up beer for the weekend. So
Yeah.
it's a good little location. Yeah.
We took my niece up there and looked at a few colleges. We drove from New Mexico all the way up
Yep.
and I was really surprised she didn't go because I mean the week as a student up there, you get all kinds of discounts. You can go skiing every weekend, and I'm sure join clubs. And I was like, if I could only do it over.
I want a do-over. I know it. Yeah, people love it, and a lot of people that move stay. So there's a reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yep,
Hmm.
absolutely, 100%.
Yep.
So Karen, so let's jump right into what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'll mention to the audience, we're changing things up slightly just so we can make sure that if you only have 20, 30 minutes, you can get the meat and potatoes of the actual interview that we're trying to get to in terms of the brand and what Karen's up to now with her brewery and her different beers. So want to make sure that we kind of get to that first. So you want to talk a little bit about your brewery, and then maybe we can get into a tasting. I'm super excited. They're all gluten free. Woohoo!
Yes.
Yay! And
Yes.
they're nice and cold. And we
Yeah.
have 4 different types, so I'm super excited.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah. So Holidaily Brewing Company. We currently, I had mentioned about our 2 tap rooms in distribution. We have 3 year-round beers that we distribute, and then a seasonal that we rotate every season. You had mentioned everything is entirely gluten-free. So there's over 9,500 craft breweries in the U.S. 17 are dedicated gluten-free, meaning all they make is gluten-free beer.
Wow.
And of the 7,
There's that many now?
it's 17. I know.
Wow.
Of the 17, we're the largest in the country. Only 2 are certified gluten-free, which we are. So we go through really the process of getting certified gluten-free. There's testing and training requirements for us. We get audited every year. But it helps me sleep at night just to be sure we're doing it all correctly and getting a product out that everyone can be safe drinking. And then we are also the only woman-owned certified brewery in the country. So of the 9,500, we're the only women-owned certified brewery. And what that means is, you probably have seen it on other products, but it says like women-owned. There's a certain logo to it. So what I have to do, I'm a member of this group called WeBank, WBENC, and they certify us. And you have to prove that over 51% of your company is owned by women. So we do that, and we get to put that logo on our cans, and it's just something I'm really proud of, and a really unique differentiator for us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, congratulations. That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yes.
Should we show the YouTube audience here? Oops.
Oh, yeah.
This little guy
there you go. That's that one. Yeah, and then there's a gluten-free certification on the can as well on the other side of the label. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, that guy. So gluten-free shoppers will be looking for that logo. A lot of, celiac and really sensitive shoppers will be looking for that. And
yeah, for sure.
We go through the hoops to make it happen.
So now, are you celiac or?
Yeah, no, I am not celiac. Yes, good question. So I'm a 2-time cancer survivor. I had melanoma as well as thyroid cancer.
Okay.
And an autoimmune thyroid disease. And I had surgery and radiation treatments for both. But actually, skin issues and thyroid issues are highly related to gluten intolerance and gluten sensitivity. And I have a kid that has gluten sensitivity as well. So they had suggested I cut gluten out of my diet.
I had no idea. You say that there's a relationship?
Yeah. Yes. There is. Yeah. So yeah, if you look up like thyroid issues and gluten, they're definitely finding there's ties in there. And skin as well. Eczema all the way. I mean, I had melanoma, but I had, kind of double whammies in terms of things that are related or could be related to a gluten sensitivity. And so I did cut gluten out of my diet, and then a whole bunch of other things cleared up. I did have eczema, that cleared up. I had seasonal allergies, those cleared up. So I probably had it a lot longer than I was aware of.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then opened Holidaily in February of 2016. I felt like I could replace some glutinous items with other, with gluten-free options, or cut it out. But there was no really good gluten-free beer.
Yep.
And I was actually working in the industry. I worked at Coors for about 10 years here in Golden.
Okay.
And it just, the beers that were out there just wasn't, that's like craft beer was booming, and I couldn't enjoy what all my friends were enjoying. And after skiing, I couldn't have an après-ski beer. And so I was just hoping there might be other people out there that just wanted to have a beer and, go to a tailgate party and have beer, not have to have, vodka or whatever.
Right. I miss beer
and
too.
So that's, you what?
I miss beer. I've just completely cut out beer for years, pretty much. Just
totally.
There's a few options, but it's just it's
and
nice.
I feel like the quality isn't great, and for me, there was just a lot of research into ingredients, like why weren't these gluten-free beers tasting as good. And there is a kind of a branch of gluten-free beers called gluten-reduced beers, and I don't know if you've seen any of those. But those beers are brewed with barley and wheat, so they do have gluten in them. An enzyme gets dropped in, and it cuts the gluten protein into pieces, but it's actually still in the beer. So I'm too sensitive to drink gluten-reduced beers. And the FDA says they can't be labeled as gluten-free. So you'd see them out there labeled on a shelf as like crafted to
To
remove
remove
gluten or
gluten. Yeah.
crafted to reduce gluten. And those are those beers, and I couldn't drink those either. So I needed to find ingredients to make it entirely gluten free and taste awesome.
Yep.
And so a lot of beers at the time, the gluten free beers were replacing grain, replacing the barley and wheat with syrup, like sorghum syrup or rice syrup. And so if you've had a gluten free beer and you're like, kind of tastes like cider, it's just sweet, or there's like a weird taste to it, that's because they're using that ingredient rather than
Interesting.
real grain. And what I did is I went and found a company that actually malts and roasts all gluten-free grain so that people like me can brew with it.
Nice.
And it's actually another women-owned company here in Colorado. It's called Grouse Malt House. And we
Interesting.
make all of our beers with a combination of millet and buckwheat.
Okay.
So the grains, there's still grain in the beer, it's just gluten-free grains. And then I think, as you get to taste them, which I'm excited about, you'll see like that it just makes a big difference. They actually taste like great craft beer, rather than like good enough for gluten free or not good at all for gluten free.
So now, did you brew beer at Coors then?
No, I mostly worked in distribution at Coors, so I really felt like I knew the distribution side of the business.
Mm-hmm.
But I also knew I wasn't going to be the head brewer. I did learn how to homebrew a little just to be dangerous and drive my brewers crazy. But I was not going to be the brewer. And part of that process was finding someone. We opened in February of 2016, so 8 years ago, and finding a brewer just willing to do gluten free. And I came across a guy that worked in the business for 25 years. He'd brewed for Bell's, he'd brewed for Breckenridge out here, um, tons of experience brewing, and was willing to take on the challenge for gluten free beer. So
That's great.
that worked out amazing. And he really took the level of quality of the liquid we were making to beyond what I was hoping. And we've continued that trend and just really focus on making a great quality gluten free beer.
That's awesome. So, were there any? Were you the first gluten free brewery back in
We were the
2016?
fifth.
You
We
were
were the
the
fifth.
fifth. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And when I
Okay.
say like commercial gluten free breweries, it means they have a commercial license to brew beer. But some are very small. Some are, small tap rooms that are open a couple days a week. Some are one is they have like a drive through and you can purchase bottles once a week.
A
That tiny.
drive-through?
Yeah. All the way up to us. Yeah. All the way up to our size where, we're in 7 states and we have 2 tap rooms, and um but we are the largest in the country, so hoping to keep growing for sure.
Yeah. Now, do you serve food in their tap rooms, or are they just beer?
Yeah, yeah. So we have in our Golden location, we have food trucks that come,
Okay.
and they are entirely gluten free. And then we share a space with a restaurant in the Denver Tech Center, and that restaurant is gluten free as well, entirely gluten free. The restaurant's name is Just Be Kitchen, um, and they're very focused on really all food allergies, and so they're a great partner in that space for us. You can buy beer from Holidaily and then food from Just Be Kitchen and be in like gluten free heaven.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
I know you have another reason to come out: eating, drinking, and skiing. We got it. We
Yes.
got you.
Do you do all the fun fried stuff that we never get to eat, like fried pickles
Um.
and onion rings and
Oh
fried
gosh, yeah. Well,
chicken
that definitely
sandwiches?
happens. Yes, yes. Like fish and chips and fried pickles. Like, yeah, they can come up with all that good stuff.
Oh,
So
I'm ready.
I
Get
know.
me on a
I know.
plane.
It's crazy. I know it. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I'm so
Yep.
excited. That is so cool. So,
Thank
do you
you.
want to start tasting some of the beers?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's walk you through a few.
Okay. So,
Um,
you want to
all right,
start
we'll
with
start
the
with that one. So that's Favorite Blonde. A cool story about that label. My grandpa called me his favorite blonde, and he was an
nice?
eye doctor. So it's an eye chart. Like that logo is an eye chart. Um,
Yeah, it
After
is.
him
Okay.
calling me his favorite blonde. But this is our biggest selling beer,
Okay.
particularly in distribution. But this is our flagship and our front runner. It's a
Gotta
really
hear this noise.
approachable beer. It's 5%. Cheers.
Cheers. Sorry,
um,
5%.
5%. Yeah, there is some hop character, just real mild, citrusy
Okay. Ooh, that's really light.
hops. Yeah, just a light, crisp, super refreshing beer.
Got the nice full in
Um,
it.
it is. You'll definitely smell a little bit of
Yeah.
hops, but
Yeah.
nothing overwhelming. Yeah,
Smells
lemon,
kind of light and
citrus.
crisp.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to put some hop character in there because forever we've had gluten-free beers where we were like, it's meh, it's bland. So there's enough in there
Yeah,
to
for sure.
let you realize it's a craft beer, but not overwhelming because so many people like you are trying it again for the first time or maybe for the first time ever. So every single beer you'll find is very approachable.
Yeah, that's really good. It's light and
Thank you.
clean. Um,
Yeah.
you can't have one sip. It makes you you're like, "Oh, we need some more of that."
It is good.
But it does have
Yeah.
like that little hoppy flavor. It's not overbearing, it's not overpowerful. It's real light, refreshing. Very easy to drink. I'm surprised it's 5% because it doesn't feel like a
Yep.
heavy beer or something that would
Yeah.
be as,
Yeah.
high alcohol. Not that 5% is super high or anything.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Just nice and smooth. And
Yeah, really
um,
neat.
you can see why it's our biggest seller because people can have multiple versus just one
Mhm.
of some of our bigger beers. So um,
Now
just love that.
do you have these that we're tasting cans right now, but for the flagship, do you have that in kegs so that restaurants could bring them in and whatnot?
Yes, yeah. So we do, yeah. We offer them in kegs as well. So they're yeah restaurants, and we also do. Our beer sells really well in breweries out here. So we're in about 82 different tap rooms in Colorado because they want to have a gluten-free option,
Yeah.
but they don't want to deal with brewing gluten-free beer.
No,
um,
they
so they
shouldn't.
carry ours, which is really really cool. And a
Yeah.
lot of those guys carry us on tap as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Okay. So
I
are
know.
all three your flagships brands then all have okay, keg.
Draft.
And how do
Yeah.
you buy it
Yep.
as a consumer?
Well, so as far as like our packaged beer, we're in a lot of any major liquor store. In so there's 7 states. I could tell you where those are, but it's
Okay.
Colorado, Wyoming, Kansas, Missouri, Texas, Arizona, and California
Okay.
are our 7 states as of right now. And so our sales are very focused on major, liquor outlets at any of those places.
Okay.
And we're getting in more and more chains. So, Total Wines, Whole Foods, Sprouts, some Kroger's, Walmart's. Um, so really that's the best
Yeah.
place to purchase us. Our tap room's here and then lots of bars, restaurants around here. A really cool niche we've gotten into a couple. One is stadiums. So
Perfect.
you want to have a beer at a football game.
That
So
would
we're
be so
in.
awesome for someone like
I
me.
know, right? So yeah, Rockies Field, Coors Field here, or our Avalanche and Nuggets are both really awesome. The Denver Nuggets basketball. So you can go there and have a holiday as well. Have a beer at a basketball game or a baseball game. So
Awesome. I
um,
love that.
that's been really cool, and we're expanding that to other cities as well. Um, and then something you need to know about, there's a company called the Celiac Cruise, and
Okay.
they go out and rent cruise ships and make them entirely gluten free. And
Really?
we are the
My wife
official
would
beer of the
just love
Celiac
that.
Cruise. Yes. So we're the official beer of the Celiac Cruise.
Oh, that's
I bring my
awesome.
husband. It's fine. He's good. So, um, like I've been to European cruises on it to help host, and they go to Alaska, the Caribbean. So that's just global exposure for us, and
Yeah, no kidding.
um,
How do you get
people
connected
get
with
to
that?
go
That's awesome. I guess
for
through
sure.
connections through the whole
Yes. Well, people just
industry.
get to go on vacation and not worry about it. It's just
Yeah.
so cool to see that level of appreciation. And like when you were saying, like, is there fried food and like beer and all of that? Like, we get full blown tears in the tap room. Like, thank you so much. I get hugs and tears. And it's just about so much more than beer. It's just like that freedom that a lot of people take for granted that you can have whatever you want wherever you want it. And This group of people just really, they're so appreciative. So that's the highlight for sure.
Yeah. Well, and you have obviously you have a market for it. There's people out there that really need that, you
Definitely.
know.
And it is growing too. Every diet you hear of now, paleo, keto, vegan, gluten-free, are all gluten-free diets. And um, when you think gluten-free beer, we want people to think Holidaily, and that's really what we're aiming to achieve, is to be the obvious choice for gluten-free beer.
Love it. Should we
Yeah,
try number 2?
let's do it. That's our Riva Stout. So this one's our seasonal.
Okay.
Um, it just came out maybe a week ago.
Okay.
If you haven't had a stout in a long time, you're gonna love this.
Yeah, I
It's
haven't.
rich. It's chocolatey, coffee. Just a really easy drinking. Again,
Yeah. Look at that
approachable
color.
stout. Very
Really,
dark.
really dark and chocolatey.
Yes.
Great foam at the
Yes.
top.
Yes.
It looks and acts like a real beer.
Can you believe it?
No.
I know.
Oh, it
Yes.
smells great. Yeah, there's definitely chocolate.
I'm excited for you to try. Yeah. I tell everybody, like, this whole company was a bit selfish. Like, I wanted to have a good beer.
Oh, this is great.
So,
This is
yes, I
yummy.
love that.
Do
Thank
you
you.
ever taste these against gluten beers and see if people can tell the
Yes.
difference?
Yeah. So we've done blind tastings before,
Mm,
and people can't tell the difference. We've done it particularly with blonde. Um, but our brewer is not gluten free.
right.
So if we say, like, okay, make us a stout, he'll go pick like his 3 favorite stouts and then make it to kind of match that, to match what he thinks, or the most award winning stouts or whatever it is, so that he's picking some profiles in there that he can match.
Okay. Well, that's
Yeah,
pretty
so
smart.
that's really how a lot of our recipes get started. Um, and even I've been gluten free long enough that even they'll do a different craft style, and I'll be like, it's good, but is this how it, like, I don't know if that's how it's supposed to taste, because I've never tried it.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it's
that's
kind of
true.
funny.
Yeah, so that's such a benefit for you to have him who
Oh
can.
yeah,
So
yeah,
does your supplier of grains, do they get kind of involved then in helping you match some recipes and kind of fine tune what you're looking
absolutely.
for?
Yeah, I mean, it is a huge partnership. Not only in, like, us initially figuring out how to brew with these grains, because the process is very, very similar. But there's intricacies that are different, like temperatures and different timing of things,
Yeah.
um, and we have to use some different enzymes early to help, like, get as much sugar out of this grain as we can, because it's just not as efficient as barley and wheat. So, I mean, 1,000% a total partnership, all the way up to, like, hey, we want to do a pumpkin beer. We
Yummy.
think we need a caramel roast that looks like this, and she can help work on that. Or, she may say, what, if I can add 3 new roasts, what kind of beers are you guys thinking about? So we work on all of that together, all the way up to, hey, here's how much we think we're going to grow this year. Can you make sure you have enough grain? So we work really close together. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
super
integral.
important.
Yeah, she's integral. I think so many people think about brewing as really that process that we do. And brewers, like technical brewers, are like, oh, no, no, no. It starts like in the field with the farmer, especially with our gluten-free certification. So, like, none of that equipment can be cross-contaminated that they're farming with, all the way to the truck that ships it to her, that she utilizes it all, all the equipment she's using, and then the different degree of malting. And malting can definitely impact the flavor of your beer. So, the real technical brewers are like, oh, it's way longer than what we do. And that grain piece is hugely important.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It has a supply chain effect on from from the ground up, from the ground to glass, literally. So
Yes,
yeah, you got to really
literally.
protect that. That's
Yep.
yeah, that would be super challenging, I would think. But I guess there's probably farmers that just know it. They know what they're doing and they've got a system down and
Yeah.
you know I don't know how that
Yep.
works with fields being in so close to another field or anything like that, but they've
Right.
obviously figured it out.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, and a lot of it, to your point, it's either fields right next to each other and or equipment that they use. So they can't go like harvest a wheat field and then harvest a millet field,
Yeah.
and have it be safe. So really their equipment's got to be dedicated to the gluten-free grains.
Wow, that's a lot. But it's super
It's a lot.
cool that there's people out there
Yeah.
that will do it for people like us that can enjoy it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Should we try beer number 3?
Yes. Beer number 3 is our Fat Randy's IPA. This is one of my very favorite beers we make. It is boozy.
Boozy?
Um, so this is a 7% IPA. It's a West Coast IPA. And what I love about this beer is the balance of it.
Okay.
Um,
It's got
you
great
can,
color.
thank you. That malt color, that malt flavor, it balances so well with the hops that we use. So it is, this one's definitely more hoppy than. Well, yeah, there's Fat Randy. I'll explain that story too. It's hoppier than our blonde for sure.
Okay.
But I think it's just an awesome
Yeah.
balanced beer. Fat Randy.
A lot more foam on
Cheers.
this too.
Yeah. And that's another thing with gluten-free beer. Like you don't see that. It's you don't
Not
get
really.
head on any gluten-free beer. Yeah. So even if people come to me and they're like, "Oh, I don't really like IPAs," a lot of people like this IPA because it just
I'm
really
not an
is
IPA fan, but yes, this is very
balanced.
good. This is very smooth.
Good. Yeah.
It's not over hoppy like a lot of IPAs are. It's
Right.
just kind of got
Right.
that hint to say I'm an IPA. But
Exactly.
yeah, I would
Yeah.
totally drink this.
Good.
Yeah,
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Yeah,
No,
I
this
just
is
again, they're all approachable. We know our consumer. They haven't had a beer in a while. But
yeah.
it's this we talked a little bit about the consumer group. It's reaching out now to people who have had beer before, but now they're cutting gluten out. So we want to have beers really for that, that highly sensitive who hasn't in a while, but also now we've got to start making beers that if people went from Bell's or New Belgium or whatever to a gluten-free diet, they still are like, okay, this is still a really good craft beer.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've accomplished both of those for the consumers that are out there.
Yeah. No, really you have. I would say if you were to ask me, the 2 favorite beer styles is Kolsch and Belgian beer. I love
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Belgian beers.
So we have our summer seasonal is Buckwheat Belgian. So it's a wit style beer. I spent my days at Coors, so I wanted a Blue Moon gluten-free, and that's really what we dialed in on the wit as. So I'll in the summer I'll have to send you a wit, Jesse. I'll have to send you some seasonals.
Oh, is that a seasonal? Okay, yummy.
Yeah, that one's seasonal. So the Riva Stout, which is what you had previous, will be wit in like spring and summer, and then it's our pumpkin ale, Patchy Waters pumpkin ale, and then it's the stout again. So it just rotates throughout the year.
So you've got a regular crew of flavors.
We do. Yes.
Nice.
And then the story on the Fat Randy can. Fat Randy is my husband's best friend since they were little. He's not fat at all. But he did take a good fall in Jacksonhole that you can look up on YouTube called Randy Wipeout Jacksonhole. And you'll see why he's upside down on skis on the Fat Randy can. So I would encourage everyone to go watch that video.
I will. If I can, I'll try to put it up on the
Yeah.
I'll try to play it a little bit on our podcast.
Do it. Love it.
No promises.
Okay. All right. Randy probably would be happy if it didn't make the cut.
Well, maybe the people that are listening to the podcast won't cross paths with Randy.
That's right. Yep. But he comes around the tap room every once in a while, and
good.
It's just fun to have a funny story about him for sure.
Yeah, well, what an honor to be named after one of your flagship, one of 3 beers. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, he's an all right guy.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, you got one more to try?
One more. Yes, we've got the Big
Big
Henry.
Henry Hazy IPA. So Big Henry is the fish you can't ever catch. It's like the trophy fish that jumps in front
Ah,
of you next to your bobber. If we caught it, we caught a hazy IPA that's gluten free. This one is our hoppiest beer for sure. So we'll see how you like. This one
yep.
has really awesome sense of pineapple, more tropical hops than Fat Randy. You
Yeah,
can
look
see
at the
lighter and
color.
haze.
It's
Yeah.
certainly it looks like pineapple.
Yeah. Lighter, hazier color. So we've won,
Mm,
the Super Bowl of beer is the Great American Beer Fest, and we've won 3 medals at that previous, and this beer won one of the medals for us. So
nice.
this is one of our award-winning beers, Big Henry Hazy IPA.
Wow, that's really yummy.
Yeah,
Again, not
you're
over
not an
hoppy.
IPA girl.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I
good.
think it's
Yeah,
just
that's
because a
just
lot of
it's
times they just overdo the bitter and hops, and it's just not my
right.
favorite. Where I like it more clean and
Exactly.
crisp and balanced. But these are all really well balanced. This is it is an IPA. You can tell by the style, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it's clean and refreshing, and it's like you say, you've got those tropical notes to it, which is
Yes.
totally different. I mean, not that I've shopped around IPAs or drank a bunch of them or anything,
Right.
but this is certainly a unique one, and
Good.
yeah,
Glad
award
to know.
winning.
Award winning. There you have it. Yes. So that one is our
Sweet.
hazy, and definitely lots of hops in that guy.
Yeah, but they're so well balanced, it doesn't seem like
Thanks.
it.
Good.
So yeah,
That's
it's
good.
yum.
Yes. Yes. Like I said, none of these beers are gonna be so bitter or so off the wall. We really want to just make these approachable styles, approachable brands, that everybody can enjoy, and
Yeah.
people can enjoy together. Like you had said, sometimes it's hard to bring guests places because you're like, is the food not going to be as good, or they won't be as satisfied? and
Yep.
and really the goal is everyone can come to Holidaily or drink a Holidaily and not feel like they're sacrificing. It's
Right.
just beer, you know
You won't feel bad when you leave.
and yeah, you may even feel a little bit better. So yes. um and we do get weird, like, just weird feedback. Obviously not why we did it, but like, oh, I do think I'm a little less hungover, or I'm less bloated for sure. I don't know, people get like swollen fingers or whatever, and that
Yep.
doesn't tend to happen. So just some weird side effects that we get feedback on outside of celiac people saying, thank you for making beer.
Yeah, exactly. Making really good
Yeah,
beer. Not
thank
just beer,
you.
really good beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, it's
So
yummy.
we need to plan your trip to Colorado, I think, Jesse.
I think so. I think there
Yeah,
needs to be a plan. We have some friends that have a place up there, and
yeah,
we'd like to at some point. Um,
definitely.
but it has to be in the summertime.
Fair enough. Fair enough. The winter's
Unless,
not really calling you.
yeah, well, I would like to do a ski trip, so there's that.
Yeah.
And I've never skied in Colorado, so
Better come give it a try.
you have to
The
do it
stars are
once.
lining up.
That's right. Well, our friends, my best friend, her husband, and her kids, they're like 13 and 10 or 11 now, but um, we're going to Puerto Rico right after Christmas. And since
Nice.
they have so much time afterwards, they were gonna come and stay a few days, but they're like, no, we're going somewhere skiing. I don't know. They try to do a ski trip every year.
Yep.
So far we haven't kind of been able to make it with them, but one of these
You got
days, yeah.
outvoted. You got topped by skiing, I guess, huh?
We did.
Darn
Fireworks,
it.
not so much. Skiing, yes.
In. In.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico sounds pretty good though too. So that they'll get the best of both worlds for
Yeah,
sure.
they'll get nice and toasty and get some diving in. The kids dive
Oh,
now and
awesome.
go ski.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes. Perfect. That's the best of all worlds, I say.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah,
Well, we'll
very
have to
cool.
make a Kolsch so I can send you one of those sometime.
Yeah,
if
well, if you
that's your
ever do,
fave.
sorry, I wasn't implying that,
No,
but
no worries.
Kolsch's are so yum and refreshing, and I just, for
Hmm.
some reason, I just absolutely just love that style. It's just something
Yes.
I we have a German restaurant here,
Yep.
um, and every once in a while I'll just get a Kolsch. We'll sit on the patio or something like that, and
Yep. I think, really there's trends are showing that a lot of people are drinking more like Kolsch lager style beers, just lighter ales in general. And um, that's tough on craft brewers because they take so much longer to make.
oh,
And
they
it's just really
do.
about yeah,
Oh,
it's about the yeast that you use. So just in terms of converting the sugar to alcohol and it all settling out, it just takes longer in the tanks than ales do. Um, and so that's why you don't see as many like craft Kolsches out there. Because you could be making a couple beers and the time you're making one while it's just sitting in the tank. So
interesting.
yeah, that's why there's not a ton of
Yeah,
those out there. Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Yep.
So, are we ready to transition? Is there anything else about Holiday Daily Brewing that you want to mention before we kind of jump into your journey and how you got here?
No, I think we're good. We can cover it. I mean, our goal really, as I said, is to be the obvious choice for gluten-free beer in the country. So, our future really is dependent on growth, and we'll grow in the markets that we are, and you'll probably see us add some additional markets in the years ahead. And it won't be overnight. It's pretty strategic in where we're going and how we're doing it. But we're definitely focused on getting beer out to the people and just making an awesome gluten-free beer that everyone can enjoy everywhere, hopefully, eventually.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now,
Yes.
can you ship beer from Colorado?
You cannot.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. So this is a state you cannot ship beer from. So anytime we want to distribute in another state, we have to, go get licensed there, get on board with a distributor there, and then go through the three-tier
Me
process
too.
in
Yeah.
terms of us to a distributor to the retailer, and then the retailer to the consumer. So
Have you heard of LibDib?
no.
So, I'm curious what like the beer industry, what they know
Okay.
about it. It's become a another means of distribution. It's still the three tiered, but you kind of control it. So they're kind of in partnership now with RNDC. So if you get enough volume in a certain state, they'll take you on. Now, RNDC is not a beer distributor.
Right.
So I doubt that that would be the path, but I'm just curious where that could fit in, because what happens is you go online and you set up your beers within the states, that you've registered in, and then you can go and call on accounts to bring in the beer, and then you ship it into the warehouse that is in that state, and then it gets distributed out to the restaurants or retailers
Huh.
um, that actually want to take that product on. So if you were on Instagram, or if you had relatives or friends that wanted to go and help you kind of distribute, say for example in Florida, you could do that, like literally
Right.
almost overnight. It's that simple.
Huh.
But with beer too, with the distribution, it's different than spirits. So
Totally.
so
Yeah.
I don't know how that
I'll
fit in
look
the
at
model,
it.
but I'd be curious to see
I'll
if there's a
definitely look.
way.
I mean, all the laws are so different everywhere.
I know.
And even in Colorado, liquor laws are different. Well, spirits laws are different than beer laws, are different than wine laws. And it's like, kind of be nice if we could streamline this a little bit. But there's so much old, I don't know, power and rules and there's so much that
Federal
plays into it.
government.
Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah, that it's very hard to make changes. And
Yeah.
it's an emotional discussion when you're sitting in that room. um so yeah, I mean, all the rules are totally different here. We just got, well, this year we got wine in grocery stores. 2019 we got beer in grocery stores.
Holy
There's still
cow.
not spirits in grocery stores here. So I just feel like we're behind the times a little bit.
Yeah, we don't have spirits in grocery in Texas
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
There's only I don't know how many states have it, but
Yeah.
in Texas, we voted to stop dry counties. Um,
Yeah.
that's still a
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah. I know.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
And again, just different states, different rules. You got to
Yeah.
learn them all. And yeah, so
How do
it's
we get this
complicated, but the
industry?
shipping
Yeah,
thing's a
it's
tough one. Yeah.
crazy.
I kind of feel like long term, it's just with consumer behavior, it's going to have to work itself out. Um, because so much of consumer behavior is shopping online now and ordering digitally and getting things delivered. And um, we're going to have to figure out a way legally and, compliance wise to get in the game, but it's really hard when your hands are tied. So just as a whole, craft beer's got to figure out how to make that more accessible if we can while working with every party because we don't want to hurt any of our partners either.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And you wouldn't in the LibDib case. It's just it may not be a great
That's cool. I'm
opportunity or
definitely going to
option.
check it out. Yeah.
But yeah, it would still
Yeah.
be fun to kind of see what that would look like, and
Yeah.
if it's not,
Yeah.
what does it need to get there?
Right.
Because to me, being from beer and wine background, distribution is a whole lot easier and completely different than beer. You'll have one house and maybe they have 5 locations in different parts of the state, where you have beer, they have
Yeah.
45
Yes.
different locations around the state.
Yes.
That blows my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And the territories are very defined, but it's by roads that don't exist anymore. Like, old Coors family or Anheuser-Busch family or whoever, on a dirt road was the boundary of the distributor, but that's not a road. It's so crazy. So it's just geographically chopped up where I do feel like a lot of wine and liquor, like they cover a bunch of territory where, we can have, I don't know, 2 to 8 distributors in one state. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like I don't know why I thought of this. It's like the police, right? They can only be in their county.
Yes. It's exactly
They
like
can't
that.
pull anybody over outside of their own county.
No,
It's the
it's
same with beer.
totally true. It is 1,000% true. And as a matter of fact, they'll get real mad if you are even in their county. So, yeah, they're very territorial and, yeah, so it's a
Interesting.
complicated distribution process in the beer world, really any liquor world, but it feels extra complicated.
Yeah, it is. It
I'm
is.
gonna check out LibDib for sure.
Yeah, just and let me know
Just curious.
what you
Yeah,
find out. I don't know
I
if it's an
will.
option. I don't know the laws and rules of all of it, but
Right.
it could be an interesting option if you just want to reach out to,
Yeah.
you have a relationship with X, Y, and Z in this state,
Yep.
and it might be just a quick entryway to, at least you're legal in that state, right? So
Yes. Yeah, you got your license. Yeah. Well, and for us, we get requests every day all over the country, sometimes all over the world. Can you ship beer? Um, to people that just want to have a good gluten-free beer, right? And
yeah.
so to be able to get some access to market any way we can and get people beer, I mean, that's at the end of the day why I did it. Um, would be anything we can do to do more of that would be awesome.
So we kind of talked about your career. Were you in the industry
Yeah.
before you worked at Coors?
No, I mean really in my background in starting this crazy wild ride was I have an MBA in entrepreneurship,
Okay.
which really only meant I couldn't pick a track and I liked writing business plans. I don't know. But I was not going to start a company. I just was what I liked studying and it all kind of came together, but was working at Coors at the time, again, primarily in distribution. So I was getting beer from the big brewery here in Golden to distributors really in the South and Central US. And then ran into my health issues. And, Colorado is a huge beer state. It's
Mm-hmm.
just part of my social life. And I felt like there was no good beer. So, again, we opened in February 2016. When we opened, and was me and that brewer we talked about, we were open 3 days a week with 3 beers on tap because I just wasn't sure if people would come to a gluten-free brewery. And by the end of year 1, we were open every day of the week. We had 10 beers on tap, and I was distributing 2 beers out of the back of my car.
Wow.
And it's been kind of that growth trajectory since. So we've grown over 1,500% since we've opened, and hope to keep on keeping on in that,
keep on keeping on.
in that motion. Yeah, this has been a tough year for craft beer. It's not doing great.
You're right.
Yep. But we continue to grow and really find our crowd, find the people that want to have a beer. And Jesse, you and I talked, like sometimes the people that are gluten-free aren't even looking in the beer aisle. So our biggest challenge is educating people on really the difference between gluten-free and gluten-reduced and why it matters, which we talked about earlier. But then also there is an awesome craft beer out there that's gluten-free. Because they're, they might be in the wine aisle or the spirits aisle or maybe just seltzers. And so we want people to know, like, look one door over, there's really gluten-free beer, and it's awesome, I promise. So we've got some educating to do.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, gluten-free, it's not by choice. So most of us, I mean, but if people choose it, that's fine too.
Totally.
But yeah, we don't get a choice. So if we know that we can get those beers out there, then we absolutely want our own section. I want to choose what I want. I mean, we want to be. It's like being heard. It's like being, understood that hey, we get it. So it's coming. I mean, the gluten-free options that are available now is unbelievable, really.
Yeah.
And the flavor's better. I can't keep my oatmeal chocolate chip peanut butter cookies in stock here.
Yes.
You can't tell the difference with cookies and sugar and sugar stuff.
Well, and you find like really good options that people even prefer, and for us younger generations, Gen Zs, millennials, the table's turning where like my generation would be like, if I have an item and a gluten-free item, I'm going to pick the original item always because I don't know what this is going to taste like. And the table is turned to where 40% of Gen Z millennials would pick the gluten-free item first. Like, oh, if I could get the same thing but have it be gluten-free, that's better. And so that's great for us and for our industry. And it's going to create even more of a demand for quality gluten-free products too. It's not just good enough anymore. It's like what they're preferring if they have a choice. So that switch is a really big one for us in a great way, where it's, people are more willing to try it than be like, do I have to?
Right.
So yes. And when that willingness comes, then we can show, this is just really good beer.
Do you have any mentors or resources that you've utilized along the way, or people that you want to mention that kind of helped you through this process?
I've had a ton of mentors, really. There's a million I could mention. One really great story I could share just on this with you is when I was getting started, I couldn't afford to go to the Craft Brewers Conference, but I found a women's group that was having a lunch like during the Craft Brewers Conference. You've probably heard of them. They're called the Pink Boots Society, but it's a women's brewing group. Yeah. Terry Ferendorf had started it. I didn't know anybody, but it was, the conference is $600 and lunch was $15. So I could do the 15. So I went into the lunch and just listened to the story, what she was up to and with this group, and grabbed her card on the way out. And I emailed her. No, I called her like a week later. And it was one of those where I was like, I'll just call, leave a message because she won't answer. And then I'll just have checked the box. And she answered. And I think I fumbled through some form of a sentence around like, hey, I want to open a gluten-free brewery and I don't know how to brew and I don't have a recipe. What do you think? I mean, that's probably what like fumbled out of my mouth.
Oh, that's
And out
funny.
of her mouth was, "That's what you're worried about?" And I'm thinking, yeah, that's it. But she helped me find consultants that could help me pick out equipment and work on recipe development and help me find a brewer. And,
Wow.
um, she just had a list of people she would refer people like me to. Um, so, I mean, just couple lessons for me in that experience were like, just be brave and ask people for help.
Yep.
Which was hard, and I'm glad she had answered, because I wouldn't probably have been as brave had she not answered. And then, people ask you for help them. Like, really, it was a 5-minute phone conversation and she sent me an email, but it totally changed my life, and maybe has changed the future in terms of gluten-free beer, which is so cool.
Yeah.
So she's out there for sure. I have just a ton of mentors, all over. I focus on really surrounding myself with people that are experts in areas that I'm not.
Yep.
So I have this team I can really rely on. And then we talked a little bit earlier about WeBank, it's the Women's Business Enterprise National Council. Um, but they have been awesome. Their resources are amazing. They help make introductions for me to chains, buyers at Target or whatever it may be, to help get us exposed to those guys. So any women-owned business, I would highly recommend looking up WeBank and seeing if you qualify. But that could be any women's group. There's this surge of like women helping women right now, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, and I'd say one other big group for me, something that I got involved in, was the Guild, the Colorado Brewers Guild. Great networking there. They have a ton of resources. Guilds are fighting for, whether it's your liquor guild or your wine guild, like, they really are trying to help small companies.
Yep.
So when it
Yeah.
wasn't just joining the guild, it was getting involved. So I volunteer on a committee, and I would say I would really advise anybody in this business that's a small entrepreneur, because that's what they're there for, and they're experts at it. I think those are some of my top
Yeah,
few in
no,
my one of my top stories.
those are really good ones.
Thanks. Yeah, all good.
Any resources that come to mind?
Um, I don't know. I have yeah. Um, Let me think of the book. I'm reading an awesome book right now, called Atomic Habits. I would recommend everybody read that book. Um,
I
the
got that
other
for Christmas
one,
last year.
they do, yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
it's so good.
it is.
I'm gonna have to listen. I listen to books mostly, but I'm gonna double listen to it because I don't want to miss the details.
Yeah.
We also do traction in our company, and I don't know if you've read about traction, but it's a book, and it's kind of a system, the EOS system, where they just help you organize your company, how you review people. It's an awesome book for
Hmm.
feeling organized and running your business.
Okay. Interesting. Hey.
Wickman is the author, um, and it has made a ton of difference in how I run our business. Um, and I just feel more organized under this. Really, it's a system, a process that you follow to run your business. So I would say Traction has been a game changer for Holidaily.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome. I can't wait to look it
Yes.
up.
Do you have a favorite resource, book, uh, plan, idea, anything you've got that you like a lot?
No one's ever asked me that question.
Turn the tables. I turn the tables.
You mean outside
But
of
you've probably
Thursday's
gotten a lot.
podcast?
Yeah, you've probably gotten a lot of suggestions. So didn't know if you had one that was a fave.
Yeah, man, I don't know. It's too hard. I haven't really sat down and really thought
I
about it
know
because
it's hard. I know.
when you're building your
Yeah,
business, you don't have as much time. You're just trying to get your website done. Then you change
very
places. You got to get your website done, and you got to get all your, A, B, and C, and
totally.
D through Z all by yourself. It's it
Yeah,
prevents you from listening or learning as much. But I guess to your point, I do get a lot of audio time. Like if I'm in the car
yeah,
going to the gym,
Yep.
and I like to listen to various podcasts, either with marketing or with the industry or with learning
Yeah.
how to podcast. So,
Yeah.
those are kind of my three main
Yep.
points. And I've been asked what podcasts I like to listen to. I should just post them, and then
It's a
people
good
can kind
idea.
of check them out and give me feedback or tell me what they like.
Yeah.
you know
Yep.
um because it's just like served up is one that it's not really a
Mhm.
self-learning um podcast, but it's an industry podcast. It's done by Julie and Bridget with Southern Glazers Wine and Spirits, so that's definitely
Yep.
going to be a lot more wine and spirit focused. But they touched on women's issues and whatnot, so um, you know that's a good one. They have a lot of fun people on there too,
Nice.
doing fun brands and whatnot. But anyway, going back to you, uh,
Sorry, sorry.
eh, um, what about any pain points that you've experienced in the industry?
Yeah, I mean, probably everyone says COVID. We did okay through COVID. When I talk about COVID and like in Colorado, especially, if you wanted to support a small craft brewery and you wanted an IPA, you have 300 to choose from. But if you want to support a small craft brewery and you have to have a gluten-free IPA, you had one brewery to choose from. And people came out of the woodwork. Like they really did support us through that.
That's great.
Um, so we kept growing through the pandemic, which was great. Pain points for us are when you're growing at the rate that we have been, it's expensive. Those shiny tanks are not cheap. So,
Yeah.
um, we have expanded equipment, expanded buildings. All of that takes investment. So a
Yep.
pain point for me is cash up front and in feeding the beast that is Holidaily that keeps growing, um, which is a good and bad problem to have. It can be real stressful when you're looking for that. But we've got a great group of investors, and I spend a lot of my time out networking and talking with investors and really, promoting the brand. But that can be a tricky one for us, and probably one of our biggest pain points. The other we talked about was just being known. Um,
Yeah.
being known that you can make a really good gluten-free beer. And it's even, from Golden, I'll go down to Denver and people haven't heard of us. And it's like, oh my God, like we've killed ourselves trying to get known. And um, so we really have spent, especially this year for next year, a lot of money, time, energy on a very focused marketing program, digital marketing, specific zip codes. Like we just are dialed in on that for next year. So we're ready, and I'm excited to see the results of that. Just keep grinding. This is not a sprint. This is a
Have you
marathon for sure.
have you tapped into all the local celiac groups and kind of gone that way and
For
looped them
sure.
in and yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So we do, we'll sponsor, they have 5Ks here. We sponsor one of their annual parties every year where they actually host it at our building.
Oh wow.
Um, and anytime we enter a new market, so like we just launched into Northern California, we look for the local celiac groups there. And then we also
Yeah.
look for local gluten-free and celiac bloggers. That we have a couple national ones that we have great relationships with. Gluten Free Dave and Phil Hates Gluten are two really big ones that are
I've
national.
heard
But
that before.
oh yeah, you gotta go find them for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Um, Dave does like cooking and recipes, and Phil does like product reviews. And like he'll do call outs to companies and say like craft, make a mac and cheese that's gluten free or whatever. So they're both really great. But there's local bloggers in every city that are gluten free that know the restaurants really well. So we
Yeah.
reach out to them, we ship them some beer, have them on a podcast with us, do kind of what you and I have done, walk them through a tasting, and then just ask them to share with their followers that we're there and you can get beer at these places. So yeah, we do everything we can really to get plugged in with that community.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
idea. It's a great to kind of get the ground up,
Yep. Yeah, I
approach.
mean that's really the lowest, get that low hanging fruit. Get the people that are celiac and highly sensitive, and I've seen it grow. We in Colorado, our first restaurant was entirely gluten free, and now we're in every Buffalo Wild Wings in the state. Like Buffalo Wild Wings is not known for gluten free anything, but they love our beer and it moves, and
Wow.
so
That's fantastic.
that's 5 years of work, but that's the difference that it makes. But you got to start with like what you're talking about, really that ground level, grassroots
Yep.
team, and then word can spread, which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yes.
What about your outlook? It sounds like you guys are growing. You're kind of set in motion here for some good growth. Are there any states that you're looking to grow into next, or just
Yeah.
kind of
So I mean, for a couple of years, we've been really in Southern California, San Luis Obispo down. But we are starting to creep, and I had mentioned this earlier, but now we're creeping up into Northern California. So we're filling out that state. Still one state, but sure a heck of a lot of people. So it
right?
feels like a pretty big, yeah, that's a pretty big move for us.
Yeah.
Um, and then really we haven't committed to anything else at this point. But will continue looking probably geographically somewhat near us. And the reason for that is transportation is extremely expensive
Yep.
and it's not good for beer. So unfortunately, I will not be shipping beer to Florida most likely in the next quarter.
But you said that you're in
Um,
Texas, so that's good.
we are in Texas, yes. So yeah,
Where?
I mean, statewide in
Okay.
Texas. So yeah, is there a time that you're back there?
Yeah, spring and fall.
Spring and fall. Okay. So yeah, then you could go, yeah, Total Wines, Whole Foods, HEBs. They've got
Nice.
us. So
Oh,
check it
good.
out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I will stock up and bring it with me to
Please.
Florida.
Yes, exactly. Um, so yeah, I mean, that's as far east really as we are. Kansas City, Missouri. I don't know. I'm just trying to remember my U.S. geography, but one's a little further east. But um, anyway, to fill out the capacity of the brewery that we're in, we'll probably do more localized distribution. And then we'll look at what do we do next. Do we build a different brewery on the East Coast, or I don't know, buy another brewery or do something out there. So that's 3 to 5 years out. We really just
Yeah.
focus on building what we've got right now.
Yeah. No, that's good. I mean, if you still have growing places you can still
Yeah,
grow and grow into, I mean, California and Texas alone will keep you busy.
exactly.
So,
Yes,
yeah. No, I mean, I think it's smart to not overextend yourself, grow to where you can first and
yeah,
feel comfortable in those markets and relationships before you move on, because the last thing you want to do
definitely.
is ruin those relationships you took so long to build.
And we don't want to be spread too thin either.
No.
So it just allows our resources, our team, our people to be focused versus just scattered.
Yep.
So it will be strategic and timely. It won't be overnight.
Yeah. No, that's great though.
Yeah.
But I mean, in the
Yeah.
meantime, you have two great tap rooms
That's
with
right.
yummy fried
Yes. With
goodness.
options. Yes. Exactly. And those are doing really, those are doing good this year. We're up this year in both of those. And um, people are still coming out, which is great.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
outside of skiing, which we know
Hmm.
you love outside of work, is there anything else that we're missing out on?
Well, I mean, the majority of my time is momming. I have twin girls that are 16 years old.
Okay. They are
And a
must be a
husband.
handful.
They are a handful, and a husband and a chocolate lab. So there
Aw.
are days it's lovely that I have access to beer when I've got teenage girls at home.
Uh-huh. I can
Um,
imagine.
yeah, yeah, no, they're awesome. So they're sophomores in high school and they're loving it, and they're
Aw.
soccer players. So a lot of my free time is either traveling for soccer tournaments or going to soccer games around here.
Yep. I can
Yep.
identify. My friend does the same thing.
Yes. Yes. And
Baseball,
I love
football,
every
soccer.
second. Yeah, I
That's
love it.
awesome.
Yeah, I love every second of that. I feel like my time with them is just starting to get more and more limited,
It is. Yeah.
which is
In that
crazy.
capacity.
Yeah, yeah. So that's really weird. They just start driving, which is crazy. Only
I would
one
say
tiny
that's
fender
probably,
bender.
yeah. I mean, when you're talking
Yeah,
about the north and all the snow and elements, it makes it even
yeah,
harder to,
yeah.
I suppose, be a
Totally.
parent.
Yeah, yeah. And you gotta let them try. And
You gotta
yes,
teach them how to, spin some donuts too.
yeah,
Muy
kind
importante.
of. Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So yeah, I mean, really between the brewery and my family, that's the majority of my time. Luckily, the brewery is work, but it is so much fun, and it allows me like my social life as well, because I can still go see friends or meet with friends, and I feel like a lot of colleagues, suppliers, and even our distributors are good friends. So
Yeah.
um,
Nice.
it feels good for sure. And outside of that, I do a lot of just similar to you, going to the gym, running, working out, yoga
Yoga.
for my mental stability.
Exactly.
Yes.
100%.
So yeah, just between them. I mean, and while they are getting bigger and there's challenges, they're certainly pretty independent. And so my time is almost freed up a little bit in terms of parenting, because
Yeah.
now they can drive themselves places and do whatever. So that helps a little bit too.
They're independent humans.
Yes, they are. More so than maybe I'd like them to be, but yes, they are.
Nice. Oh, that's
Yep.
cute. So, is there
Yeah.
anything else we haven't mentioned, Karen, that you'd like to tell everybody?
I don't think so.
Maybe
I'm
a
excited to
website?
have
You got a
been on
website
and
or Instagram
met
handle or
you.
anything?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So we're at Holidaily Brew. I think a lot of people say holiday or spell it holiday, and that's actually one thing I could tell you. Holidaily, actually was a word we made up, and it really is just make the most of every single day, or every day's a holiday. Especially after I got sick. I mean, I think I've always lived my life that way, but it just reinforced like we never know, and we need to make the most of every single day. And it's been such a fun brand to work and play with, and we just get to focus on bright colors and positive messages. So anyway,
Nice.
all of our handles are Holidaily Brew, or Holidaily Brewing, and then our website is holidailybrewing.com. Um, so we're out there on the socials and would love more followers. And thanks so much for reaching out and having me. It's been fun chatting.
Yeah. No, this has been awesome. Congratulations on your journey. And it's
Thanks.
unfortunate the way it happened, but now you're a champion of so
Thank
many
you.
people, right? And you get to make so many
Thank you.
people happy to the point where they're,
Yes.
have tears, which is happy tears.
Happy tears. I know. Very cool. Most people don't
Yeah,
want to make customers cry, but happy tears will accept.
we'll accept.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you didn't want to have your own business, but you still got that MBA in entrepreneurship, so it was
Yeah.
still there. It just,
Yep.
it was in there
Yep.
somewhere.
It totally is. Yeah. It was there for a reason, for sure.
And now you're a business owner, you have employees, so you're really making a difference for a lot of people. So congratulations on all
Thank
your hard
you.
work and your
Thanks.
success, your awesome success that you're enjoying right now. And keep in touch, and
For
you know
sure.
I'll dig
Keep
around and,
sending beer to you.
yeah, I'll dig around and see
Yeah.
where I can find it when I get to Texas.
All right. Perfect. Yes. We'll be
Yeah.
in touch for sure.
Anyway, all right.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Karen. Best of luck to you.
Yeah.
If there's anything I can do, let me know.
Awesome. Thanks so
Alrighty.
much.
Bye.
Bye bye. Cheers.
Cheers. Tune in next Thursday and have a great week. This week's episode was produced by Fedora J Productions.